this is a storm sewer. They're gonna run a camera, look at the condition of it, see if there's any debris in it or whatnot. And then we're gonna assume today that there was debris that needed to be cleaned. I'm not sure how dirty it actually is, but then we're gonna run our combination Vector and jetting truck as well. And then normally in an operation like that, then you would camera it again when you're done just to make sure that it's clean. That's what we're doing.
Well, we'll go ahead and drop it in then. The big thing is, I mean, obviously, there's a lot that goes to it as far as your different sets of wheels and everything. And those all based off the diameter of the pipe you're going to go in. So I think we have, correct me if I'm wrong, the second biggest set on?
Yeah, the second biggest set.
We got one more big set to go on, but this will go through, I believe this is an 18,
10 to 12. The other one's 15, 18.
That's right. So there's different setups and wheels and how you have to put them on. But as far as the camera goes, we'll get started here. I'll help you. Go ahead and start letting her down. I got the rope and feed it to me. Probably a proper name for this. It's called a tiger tail. Basically, it goes in, it sets up against the top side of the pipe. That way, when you're running your cord's not rubbing. You mess the cord up, you're done. Operation's over.
So inside that cord is basically the power as well as the communications on it, fiber optics. Not just an extension.
So from here, I control everything.
You want to step
Light,
up
lasers. From here, I control my light, and that's what gives me my definition of what I want when I run in. So now I know I have good HD. I'll click off of that. So then that's what you're going to see. And then when you're going to start, menu, you're going to create a project. And then once you create the project, that's when you can start doing your recordings and photos and everything. The top one is going to control my camera. And then this one goes forward, reverse. And then the cool thing about this camera is it also has a rear camera that you can switch to. That all looks really good. Got a self-focuser on it, so when it comes out of focus, it will always go back to. I mean, this pipe looks awesome. So like right here you have standing water, which isn't a big deal because it's very shallow. But sometimes what can happen, and you'll see it more in like clay and stuff like that, sewer more than you will storm, is you'll get sags that are so deep it'll actually build up material. And if you're not draining, you're holding water.
What's the range again? How far are you going to be able to go with this thing?
I believe this reel, Mike, how much is on this reel? It's over 300, isn't it? 600?
Yeah, it's 500's sticking in my mind right now.
500?
Yeah. Yeah. 500. I wouldn't want to take it too much farther than that. I mean, you shouldn't have to. You should go to the next man.
It's kind of the standard for sanitary sewers, because you don't have more than 450
And then if it gets stuck on something, the salesperson for it said we can actually pull on that cord to drag it back.
Yeah, worst case scenario.
He said just don't hook it up to the back of your truck.
I was
But
wondering.
we can actually, if it gets hung up, we can tug on this a little.
Well, the further out it goes, the more force it's pulling,
Yeah.
unless
That's driving the cord out
so
too.
it's not actually pulling on it at all
No,
as
it's
it
feeding.
drives out.
That's feeding it out. And then when you go in reverse, this is actually kind of pulling it back with it driving. You can actually kick up the speed on that when you're coming back to help it keep straight. If you're just driving by itself and this isn't pulling it, you tend to veer off. You can kick the speed up on that and it's pretty straight down, which is kind of a nice feature.
Check everything as opposed to having to get down in the vehicle. You can save it to the actual car driver. And typically what I do, so I ran the whole span, everything looked awesome. I didn't take pictures of anything. So I'll pause, then I'll switch to my rear camera. And then from there is when you can start going back. And like I said earlier, it is such an awesome feature, being able to see what's behind you. You guys want to try it? We'll give it a shot.
Drive it.
You want to drive it? And typically in reverse, when you're going in reverse, it'll usually hold you just dead straight. Like I said, this is going to be your level.
So it's pretty much straight on.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about reverse. Going forward, you got to mess with it a little bit. No, you're good.
I think these are
8-foot sections.
Yeah, you're right. It's steady. It's just running
Oh
steady.
yeah, it does. Reverse is awesome.
Well, right now, the only time we've typically done this is when we've had a problem, and then we'll borrow or rent some equipment to be able to go fix a problem. And so this is kind of us, now that we have the equipment, we're starting to pilot a program, and then we'll put together kind of a plan for how we're going to take on the various drainage basins, stormwater basins, neighborhoods in the city to be able to look at the entire city. We only looked at 100 feet as a demo today, but we've got miles and miles and miles of storm pipe. It will not all be in the pristine shape that the 100 feet was that we looked at today. I guarantee that. And so, and we'll probably take a look at what the Vector truck does. Obviously, there was no debris in this sewer, so normally we wouldn't have to clean it or jet it, break anything out. But this piece of equipment would. Let's say there's a tree, silver maple growing right here that's grown into that storm sewer, and you've got a big root ball in the storm sewers that are clogging things. This would be a piece of equipment then that would say, okay, we found where the root ball is. It's 30 feet down in the storm sewer. Let's go ahead and run that line with this piece of equipment then, and clean out those silver maple roots that were in there, for example. Cool.
The benefit of this is when they start going through, it's putting pressurized water out forward to cut, and it's also running water back so that it's flowing back any debris, and they'll be able to suck it out as it carries it back. This is one of the nozzles that we use. You can see it's got a nozzle that goes on the front as well as the back. So think as how this is designed. This will screw on there, and it actually also uses this to help propel it through the pipe. So we've got, like I said, different nozzles. You get different sizes, different shapes. There's some. This is all strictly a water cutter. They make ones that actually spin. They use the water to spin. They've got chains on them with chain cutters and things like that. So. This is just a bigger version basically of what we're putting on there now. This is what they call a bust through. So this is used to kind of try to force its way through. And that's the same thing.
Then I'll have the jet on the front to help push as well. So when it comes back through.
come a little closer now, but then when we turn the water on, back up. Don't start.
Yeah, feet of line together, main line. This is 300 feet of main line. Really expensive. So that's why you do a leader line. So if you go into the rub and you trade the leader line and it blows, you replace this leg up 15-foot section. You just replace that instead of 300 feet. Really expensive line. Basically, I'm just jet it in. Once I run out of leader line down at my hole, I'll throw the tiger tail in just like the camera.
And I just want to caveat with those are the cleanest storm sewers we will ever see. As we get into this pilot program, we'll make sure to take a few shots of maybe not quite as clean and in good a condition storm sewer we'll bring back so you can see some other pictures as well.
Thank you and the staff for putting this on. That was a great exhibition, and just sure at least we're able to see what's going on in some other parts of the city other than driving by Public Works.